Hello everyone. So today here we are with one more interview experience. So if you want to know like what is the interview process at Teradata, or want to know like what kind of interview questions one should brush up before taking up an interview with Teradata, then this video is for you. So in this video I'll be sharing my interview experience with Teradata, like what kind of interview questions that I have encountered and what was the interview process that I have underwent at the interview with Teradata. So firstly I would like to talk about the interview process. So coming to the interview process, there were like two. Firstly there was one technical telephonic discussion, and thereafter there were two technical rounds. So coming to the technologies that I have been interviewed here was like uh, core Java, like complete Java, then Spring and Spring Boot and Hibernate. So before getting into the interview questions, I would like to give a quick introduction of ourselves. Like who are we, what we do. So we are typically a bunch of software engineers who attend interviews and share our real-time interview experiences through these videos. So you can visit our channel and you can find different MNC interview experiences that we have already shared. Like almost we have shared close to 30 or 40 interview experiences till date. Uh, So if you haven't subscribed yet, feel free to subscribe. And that was a quick introduction of ourselves. So firstly, I would like to talk about the telephonic discussion. So in the telephonic discussion, they were all the questions were from core Java, and the questions were also a bit of basic level of questions. Like they were checking out for a guy who is very strong at core core Java part, like basics, who is very strong at basics. So all the questions related to the basics of Java were asked here. Like into complete deep discussion happened on the basics of Java, like encapsulation and how we achieve it, or what is polymorphism, what is dynamic polymorphism, what is static polymorphism, and how do we achieve those things, and what is the difference between comparator and comparable interface, and what in what scenarios we should use what, like whether to use comparator or comparable. And n number of questions were asked on collection framework, like in deep details questions were asked, like entire hierarchy of collection framework. And he was giving me few scenarios, and he was expecting me to like he was expecting the which type of collection class I will go for. So those kind of questions were asked. And then there were the generic questions like tell me about your roles and responsibility, give me a quick brief introduction of yourself, and these kind of questions were also asked. And apart from that, there were few questions related to my project were also asked, like why we have went for certain type of technologies, like there are a number of frameworks that are available in the market, but why we have chosen XYZ framework instead of some other framework. So these kind of questions were asked. It was about 45 minutes discussion, a good discussion. He was very professional, and to be honest he was helping me out here and there where I was lacking the words to explain the concept. So I would say it was a very good interview experience, telephonic interview experience. So this was about the telephonic discussion run. Before getting into the face-to-face discussion and interview questions, I would like to share one thing, like what I usually follow when I attend interviews. Like always be confident, whether you know the answer or you don't know the answer. Always be confident. The second thing is like be cool. He is not going to kill you even if you are saying going to say the wrong answer. The least thing that would happen is you will get rejected, that's it. And always remember that no one knows everything. Even the interviewer who is getting interviews, who is asking you the questions, if he when he doesn't know anything, he will also google it, like you google it if you don't anything. So be cool and maintain same tone throughout your interview, like same voice tone. Don't get overexcited when you know the answer, and don't get nervous when you don't know about something which is being asked. So be cool, be aram se, be chill, and enjoy the interview, I would say. So I want the next slide I would be sharing the all the technical like interview questions that I have faced in face-to-face rounds. So first question, does two objects will always be equal when they're compared to method returns 0? So ideally the two objects should be equal if at all their compared to method is returning 0, and if it is returning 0 and if they are not equal, then we haven't implemented the compare to method correctly. So next question is, tell me about the frameworks which you have used to manage threading. So this was actually the second part of the question. First part was like what all are frameworks available to manage threading. So there are two frameworks which I know, which we use to manage threading. One is the executor framework and other is fork and join framework. So coming to the framework that we have used in our project, it is executor framework. So why we went is, like, executor framework is used when your application or when your application has some requirement where you have to execute tasks by multiple threads concurrently. So if you use executor framework, then you don't need to manage the threads. You can just define the number of threads to be in the thread pool, and that's it. Everything will be taken care by the thread pool executor. This is one of the biggest advantage we get when we use thread pool executor. Everything will be taken care by thread pool executor. And coming to fork and join framework, it is basically used when you have some sort of task that you can subdivide the task and then later join them to get the final result. This basically works on divide and conquer principle. So coming to the next question, what is the use of volatile keyword? When to use the volatile variable in Java? So volatile is a keyword in Java, uh, and volatile keyword is used to modify the values of a variable by different threads. It is also used to make classes thread safe. It means that multiple threads can use a method and instance of a class at the same time without any problem. The next question is, tell me about different reference types available in Java. So as far as I remember, there are four types of reference types that are available in Java. Those are strong reference, weak reference, soft reference, and phantom reference. So coming to the strong reference, when we use strong reference in Java everywhere, to be honest, like we can create an object and then assign it to a reference, and note that if the object has a strong reference, the object is never garbage collected. And coming to soft reference, if an object has a no strong reference but has a soft reference, then garbage collector reclaims the object's memory when garbage collection needs to free up some memory. Coming to weak reference, if an object has a strong reference but has weak reference, then garbage collector reclaims the object's memory in the next run even though there is enough memory. Coming to phantom reference, so if an object does not have any of the references, like above three references, then the object is known as phantom, and then the object reference is known as phantom reference. So phantom reference can get directly accessed when we by using the get method. This was the question. These are the different types of references available in Java. Coming to the next question was like, how does get method of HashMap works in Java? So indirectly he is asking the internal implementation of HashMap. So I have explained him in the entire scenario, like how we store the objects in the HashMap, and then secondly I have explained him how do we retrieve the objects using the get method of HashMap. Next question is, what will be the problem if you don't override hashcode method? To be honest, if you are not touching the equals method, then there is no problem, if even though if you don't override the hashcode method. But you must override hashcode in every class that overrides equal methods, because failure to do so will result in a violation of general contract for object like hashcode, which will prevent your class from functioning properly in conjunction with hashcode based collections, including hashmap, hashset, and hashtable. The next question is, what are the different types of class loaders used by JVM? So there are three types of class loaders, like one is bootstrap class loader, extension class loader, and system class loader. So coming to the bootstrap class loader, it loads all the standard JDK classes from rt.jar and other core classes. And coming to the extension class loader, it delegates class loading request to its parent. So coming to the system class loader, it loads all application specific classes from the class path environment. So these are the three different class loaders available in Java or used by JVM, you can say. Then the next question was about the memory allocation. So how many types of memory areas are allocated by JVM? So there are 5 types of memory areas in JVM. Those are like class or method area, heap, stack, PCR, and native stack method. And I have explained in detail like what all happens at different memory areas here. Next question is, it was a tricky question, I would say. If an object A has a reference to object B and object B referred to object A, apart from there is no live reference to either object A or object B, do they are eligible for garbage collection? So to be honest, yes, they are eligible for garbage collection as far as I know. So if you don't agree with me, you can provide your answer in the comment section as well. Next question is, how can you control the size of perm jump space? So basically this we can do by passing one command in the command line interface. By there is a code like actually I wanted to see write it here, but there is one syntax which we pass to VM as a VM arguments to increase this. Which design patterns have you used? Explain how you used it with proper example and why you choose a particular pattern. So I have explained him all the design patterns that I know and explain him in detail like in which scenario I'll go with which design pattern, and he was pretty much what I can say impressed with the way I have explained him with all the real time scenarios. To be honest, I have taken examples from my current project only, like in which scenario and in which requirement we went for which design pattern. So coming to the next question, do you know about open closed design principle or Liskov substitution principle? So yes, this is one of the solid principles. So this principle defines that object of a superclass shall be replaceable with objects of its subclass without breaking the application. So this is about the Liskov substitution principle. Coming to the next question, what is singleton design pattern in Java? Write a code for thread safe singleton. Like he was expecting me to write a code to implement a singleton design pattern and that too a thread safe. So I have well prepared for this type of questions, and I was able to write the code. Like basically we need double checking here, and for the internal object creation we should provide the synchronized inside the synchronized block. Then the next question was about explain about Hibernate architecture. To be honest, I was not getting what to explain exactly on this question. So whatever I know about Hibernate, I have started explaining him. Like to be honest, I explained about Hibernate close to 10 to 15 minutes non-stop. Then he asked me to stop for a moment. Like it was getting like too deep into the question. Then the questions were then there were few questions apart asked on Hibernate, like what role does session or we can say SessionFactory interface play in Hibernate? So SessionFactory interface or session interface is a single threaded object, the representation of a single unit of work with Java application and persistent database is done by this object. The wrapping of JDBC connection is emphasized role of session interface object. So this is the major interface between Java application and Hibernate. This is a runtime interface. The beginning and ending of the transaction cycle is bounded by session interface. The purpose of this interface is to perform create, read, delete operation for objects that are mapped with entity classes. So coming to the next question, how do you load objects into the session? To be honest, at first I didn't understand the question. Then later on, like there are only two ways to get the object. Like one is the get method and one is the load method. So I have said the same thing, like there are two methods, get and load, with which we can load the objects into the session, and then explain him in detail like what is the difference between get and load methods. What is the difference between getting a persistent object from the session and querying for persistent objects? To be honest, I didn't get this question and I said the same thing. Like I'm not getting the question itself. Then he said, okay, let's move on to the other question. To be honest, even I am not aware of this answer. If you know the answer, you can comment in the comment section. Then the next question was about explain how serialization works. So explain him in detail like what is the advantage that is provided like by serialization, and how can we achieve it, what benefit we do get, and how it works internally. Then ask me to then the question was like about the rest architecture, like what exactly is rest. So explain in detail like what is rest and what are the advantages we get here, and why it came into picture when there was soap already in the market, and what extra features it is providing upon over the soap. Then there was a question, the most asked question in web services, like what is the difference between soap based web services and rest based web services. So explain him in detail. Then there are set of differences, to be honest. You can go through it on any site that are available on Google. Then the next question was what are the different types of IOC containers, explain them. So basically, there are two types of IOC containers in Spring. One is Spring Factory, like one is Bean Factory, and another is application context. Why is dependency injection useful? So dependency injection allows us to have more loosely coupled code. Classes can be used other classes simply by having them injected instead of knowing how to construct a particular class. That is the biggest advantages of dependency injection here. The next question was about the annotations, like explain the controller annotation. So I have explained him like what does that annotation represent. Whenever we are annotating, what will it inform to the JVM or container. Then there was a question on explain at the rest mapping annotation. So at the rest mapping annotation is a Spring MVC annotation which is used for mapping web requests to particular handler classes or handler methods. The classes or methods that are annotated with at the request mapping will be scanned and registered as URI mappings for a specific class or method. Then there was a question on what is the difference between Bean Factory and application context. So Bean Factory is like a factory, the class that contains a collection of beans. It instantiates the bean whenever asked for by the clients. And coming to application context is an interface built upon like on top of Bean Factory. What is annotation based container configuration? So in Spring Framework, annotation based configuration is instead of using like XML for describing the bean wiring, we have a choice to move to bean configuration to component class. It can be done by using annotations on relevant classes, methods, or final declarations. What is decoupling? What are loosely coupled classes desirable? What are some disadvantages of it? So this was the next question. So explain in detail like what is decoupling or loosely coupled classes, why loosely coupled classes were described. The next question is how do you prevent SQL injection in Java code. So I took our application example, like data sanitization is a technique of applying a filter to the user supplies data so it can be safely used by other parts of the application. We can eradicate it like that. So these were the questions that were asked to me in the interview. So coming to the feedback of the interview, I would say I am positive about the overall interview process that I have underwent. Like everybody was very professional, though there was some long waiting, but it was a very good interview. like interviewers were helping me here and there whenever I was stuck. So coming to the salary that was offered to me was 14.5 lakhs per annum, and coming to my experience level, well, it is 5.8 years. So I feel for 5.8 years of a guy, 14.5 lakhs per annum package is a very good package. So I have accepted the offer also. So this was about the interview process with that I have underwent, and the interview questions that I have encountered in the interview. So please do subscribe if you haven't subscribed. Share this video to other technical platforms so that this might be helpful to some other guys. And if you like the video, please press the like button. And if you didn't like, or if you feel somewhere it needs to be modified, then please do comment so that we may cover it up in the next video. So thank you for watching. Have a good day.